Has a much thinner wire. It's a little harder to work with. This one has a thicker wire and it does not have stretch. So I've put these bands in here in the middle just to ensure that it has stretch. Okay, so these are my two beginning examples. So let's do it.
I'm like a big fan of the Jack Skellington movie, Nightmare Before Christmas. And so this bracelet is going to use some colors of one of my favorite characters from that, Miss Sally. And so I have my base thread here, and you'll notice that this one does not have much of a stretch. So that means this is going to be a little more challenging than, let's say, using an elastic band or using one of the pipe cleaners as a bangle. Okay, so what you're going to want is you're going to want a piece of string that is a few inches larger than your wrist. So my wrist is about 7 inches. I've measured it at some point. And so I'm going to want something that's maybe close to twice that length, okay, with something that doesn't have much of a give, because you're going to need quite a bit of slack to make knots. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that, and you can ask the volunteer at your table to help you. You're going to need between 15 to probably 30 beads, depending upon the size of your wrist. If you have a larger wrist, you're going to be closer to the 30 range. If you have a smaller wrist, you're going to be close to 15. For some comparison, I'm usually about 22. So I don't have the biggest hands in the world, but I am going to be using for this one, I'm going to be using pink, some pinks, because that's what I always think of when I think of Sally. Maybe a few of the little blues and some purple.
All right, so Sally's got
Kind of like a magenta hair, and she's a little bit like of a light purple, like color-wise, in her dress, and she's got some blue. And I will put any of these back that I'm not going to use. I'm just going to get out the colors that I want to use for my particular bracelet here. I know she's got kind of like a blue complexion, right? And there's even like a little bit of maybe black with her scars. So I've got somewhere close to 30 beads there.
I would suggest that you do one at a time at your table so that they don't go everywhere and, you know, we're not chasing beads around the art room. So whichever one you decide to put on there first, okay, with your beading, okay, you're gonna pick an end, and you're gonna want maybe between 2 to 3 inches at the end of the string so that you can tie off with a lot of ease, because it can be pretty difficult at a certain point to tie off. So I'm going to tie off with this black one here, and I'm not going to tie it too tightly because eventually it's going to get tied together, but I am going to double knot it because I don't really want it to come loose while I'm working. And then it's just a matter of arranging your beads however you want them to go. Okay, so I am pretty close to the end of where I want to put. So I'm going to have my last bead. It's also going to be a tie-off bead, simply because I don't want my beads coming off while I am getting the elastic band that makes it where it, you know, will come on and off my wrist very easily. I don't really want that slipping while I do this, so I'm going to knot it. And then I'm going to go back through this last bead one more time. Well, there we go. All right. So if I don't mind it being like a little bit tighter, I can try and tie it around my wrist. But if I want it to have a little give in this situation where it's not a stretchy band, I can take a couple of these loops that you normally use for like making those rubber band bracelets, and I can use them to be kind of like a joint for me. So
I tie it on one side.
You just want to make sure you have enough slack for this, because this is the part that can get a little tricky.
Okay, and then I'm going to double knot it one more time just in case.
Okay, and then I come over to the other side, and you see I've got my page right here. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing one more time.
Almost there. This is why you always want to make sure you have enough slack at both ends, because it makes that part easier.
You can always ask the adult at your table to help with this part if you need it. Just try and do it yourself first. It's really important to always try. There we go. All right, so you can see that there's a little bit of stretch, and when I put that on there, lovely. Now I made mine a little bit loose, but as you are working on yours, if you need to tighten it up, you absolutely can. Another thing that you can do is if you've got a long tail like this and you want to make sure that there is a little, like, you know, that you do have that stretch to get it on, but you kind of want it to be a little more secure, you can take that long end and kind of take it through, but not pulling tight. Take it through the other side.
It's just like tying your shoe, right? Okay, and then you can do it one more time to double knot it, and then you've got a pretty secure penny braid bracelet.
Ta-da! Cool beans. See you in the next one.
Wait, if you make a bracelet, does that make it a necklace for me?